taking, stuck on my enemies, just to get a manifest, voyage in the land of papyrus and anapes.
It's Alejandro, also known as 137, and I got some good content lined up for you today. But before I go on, I'd like to offer a moment of silence and my condolences to those affected by the Atlanta and the Colorado shootings. Alright, so I have a song coming out on March 28th with beats by In It. Not only did they make the beat, but they mixed and mastered this time, so it was really interesting seeing how they worked creatively. And they asked me to do a lyrical breakdown. So instead of going through the entire song, I figured I'd pick out a couple, maybe of the more abstruse lines and break it down. Alright, so without further ado, let's get it going. I'm taking, stuck on my enemies, for sake of the manifest, voyage in the land of papyrus and anapest. Alright, so pretty much I'm just, establishing a scene here. I'm saying that I'm going to be logging down the names of foes on my proverbial manifest before I go on my voyage, right, to the land of papyrus, like Egyptian paper, and anapest, which is just a metrical pattern. I always saw writing as like a voyage of sorts, the creative process is a trip to another land. So my gasoline doesn't come with a lubricating agent, so you don't want to know what it takes to oil the pistons. I really don't have a singular source of my motivation, but cool, I captured a couple 100,000 people's attention. So this is more like a symbolic and self-referential statement, just of me being sort of a vehicle of creativity, but the things that oils my pistons, the things that really keeps me going aren't the things that people might expect. Like, there's not like some muse out there that I'm like, oh man, gotta write about that person, or something like that. It doesn't mean that I'm not prompted by certain things going on, for sure, but in terms of my yearning to write, or my yearning to rap, or my yearning to do any of the things I do, it's predicated on something more innate. Don't call it a pro phase, keep it a pro, leave it a phase. Now with a pen, got enough ink for the rest of my days. I'm only new to you. I've been writing since my title whiteys, and I'm constantly in development. You can call me pro phase. So that's a fun writing that line. So when I wrote this, I think it was in response to like this misconception that this is somehow new, I may have started rapping and sending it to stores only a few months ago, but in terms of writing, in terms of that creative part of the brain, it's been decades, I like to say that like it took me 22 years to get to this point, not a couple months. I pour myself in everything I do, all of the songs, they're my babies, so in my head it's never been a phase. And I do think that, this process is also always a form of development, constantly development, like a pro phase, cell development. On the edge like tower liar, sacrifice so pen inspires, is that not the artist's plight? Bathing in the kerosene to feed the fuel, the raging fire. Tower liar is referring to the block stacking problem, the mathematics problem, how many blocks you can stack at the end of a table, at the end of a certain surface. Pretty much what I'm saying is that the creative process is pretty trying. It can be a lot for some people to go to that kind of place inside themselves to write or to produce anything, but I also feel that that's sort of just part of the plight of any artist in any field, bathing in that proverbial kerosene, and feeding yourself to that raging fire of creativity. I feel I've made from rhymes and notes my very own sweet home. I've come to shore and burnt my boats, 'cause I don't fear the bones. So I also used a similar line in the Delta where I said that I was, burning my boats before going to shore, or something along those lines. And pretty much what it is when you embark on the journey, oftentimes you have to cut that umbilical cord connecting you to your life before that. In other words, you have to take risks creatively. You have to always be, whatever new field you get into, or maybe if you reach a new stage of that field, what you have to do is shed a lot of those inhibitions, or at least anything that's thwarting you from truly achieving your most sincere artistic self. Alright, so that concludes the video. If you want any more videos like this, it's pretty interesting doing, comment it or DM me and tell me what songs you'd like next, if any. Thank you, and until next time.
In the shower, so I can wake up in the morning, know what goes to the vow. You see, the key to one of the greatest isn't chasing the